Welcome to the third episode in our new series to build a beautiful mega empire. We're using more than 80 mods, not to make the game easier, but to make the game actually harder, better, because we have a lot of new ornaments, a lot of new game mechanics, like the pescatarians. We also have 3 AIs, the parrots, as well as all of the DLCs activated. If you want to download all of the mods that we're using, don't hesitate to check in the video description below. You can also find the link to the first episode if you want to start there. For everybody else, a quick recap. In the previous episode, at the end, we got our first artisan. So in this episode, we of course want a lot more artisans, but we also want to do a couple of other things, and I've started to do some offline. You can see here that I started a small new community. You have a small village here with a market stall, and this enables me to create sales. To create those sales, you need wool, and that's why we have a sheep farm here, which has a silo, and that's why we have a small farm over here, a small grain farm. We've also placed a police station that is modded. I felt it looked quite nice on the arbor front. Of course, later on we'll need to make this harbor a lot more like a harbor. For now, there's nothing else. And then on the other side of this main road, created a small industrial block, which is to create steel, because we have a steel maker here, as well as weapons with this weapon factory here. For both of these, we need steel, which is made into this furnace here. And for the furnace, we need iron and coal. The coal is coming from those 2 charcoal kilns here, which have an area of influence, so you need to be careful about this. For now, it's perfect, it's 100%. And then the iron is coming from that mine over here at the top, in our other sort of small industrial area. Then I had a bit of fun putting a number of ornaments. You can see some here. There's also some of those nice towers that are pushing a lot of gray smokes. You can also see this one, which is actually moving. Like that one, they're actually moving, so it's really cool. Here we have a fuel station, but it's actually blocked by people on strike. A lot of these elements are coming from this mod here. 100, more than 100 assets, a really cool mod. Then, I also put a number of vehicles. Like here you have this vehicle over here, this one had an accident. Another vehicle here that is also at 45 degrees. To change it, you just use the skin painter. And so with those sails and weapons, now we can start to build ships. I actually built the first one over here, which is just a small gunboat. Now we have enough weapons to build a frigate. We can also start buying ships at Archibald. You see here one for sale and second for sale. So zero quest. Let's just start it quickly. I'm always doing all of those quests as much as possible. This is how I'm getting a lot of money. So all good there. And yeah, we can definitely buy some. 20, we have a bit of money. You may be wondering why I'm buying those 2 ships. Well, it's because I want to start the expedition to go to the new world as soon as possible. So I didn't want to wait for those new ships to be created. I'll just use one of those 2. But before we do that, let me show you the new artisan community that I started. It is here. They are not artisan yet, they are still workers, but they are ready to be upgraded. So let's do it together. Let's upgrade all of them. Well, actually, we don't have enough resources. We need more wood. When I have a bit more wood, I will upgrade all of the other ones. And then I'll also be able to take out the marketplace, because the marketplace is required for your farmers and workers, right? It is here, this basic need, but it is not necessary anymore for the artisans. So I'll be able to delete it at that point and replace it. Actually, I will replace it probably with a theater in the future. A theater like this one. Or maybe the church and the theater, we'll see. I haven't made the neighborhood pretty at all yet for now. I just had a bit of fun putting, the houses in different shapes and creating roads around it. Also created a bit of a school at the end. I'm not really happy with it. Don't hesitate to share in the comments what you think about it. My idea was to have a bit of a garden, but also a concrete part. Like in most schools, you can see here, they're playing on concrete, but also often they have a garden, but I don't know, I feel like it doesn't really look that good. So don't hesitate if you have any ideas. I've also actually started to build 2 more frigates because we have enough weapons now, thanks to these great weapon factories over here. And if you're new to the game, or like me, you haven't done an expedition in forever, because expedition in late games are not that important. remember that most expedition will ask you from time to time to make decisions, and you will see, you know, a number over here. That means you have to go here. You see this exclamation point. If you don't do it, you know, the expedition will not move forward. So you do need to check that from time to time. At the end of a rope. Ooh. And here it seems that we need force or crafting, and we have neither. So it's just sort of pure luck. Of course, you can try to read the description and follow, but we're just gonna slash with our saber. A very lucky escape. It's not lucky, it's just skills. Okay, so that was a quick and easy one. And then you get to the screen here where you can use some of your resources, for example, our bread, to not lose too much health. Otherwise, if you don't use anything, you lose a bit more health. I mean, 3 versus 10, or you can return home if you don't want to lose that ship. Of course, we want to continue. Now I think it is definitely time to visit this quaint little artisan town that I would say is sort of finished. Of course, we can always improve it in the future. The only building that is not actually built is this Ferris wheel here, because it requires resources from engineer tier that I don't have yet, but I wanted to place it to show you how I'm thinking it's gonna look like. And this is actually a special Ferris wheel. It comes from a mod I'll show you just now. And with this mod, you know, it's not just a pretty Ferris wheel, it's actually a Ferris wheel that acts as a theater. It provides the theater needs to your artisan. So that's why I wanted to place it here. Let us do a visit in the first person mode first. Quick reminder, it's Ctrl-Shift-R to get into it or to exit it. While we're in first person mode, also remember that you can do quests. You know, sometimes you'll see people like this with the star, that means it's a quest in first person mode. Usually when you leave the first person mode, that quest, you know, is broken, you need to start it again. So it's important to remember that. Okay, let's start visiting. I mean, this is the entrance. Right as we enter, of course, I'm asking people to pay a bit of money to drink some beer, to have the great mindset to visit the city. Then we have 2 archways here to enter later on into a Ferris wheel. There's also a lot of decorations around it. Small advertising here for the New Horizon modding project. I have a video on my channel about this mod that will come hopefully at the end of season 4. Don't hesitate to check in the video description below if you don't know about this new amazing mod that I'm definitely waiting for. And then we continue, you know, there's a number of statues here. And also this thing I thought was really cool. It's an archways, you know, to protect people when it rains, let's say. So we can go through it. It even turns, and if you continue to go down, you know, there's a signpost that tell you where to go, like the beer garden is behind. If you want some beer, let's go back. The museum, or the truth is we don't really have a museum, but I love that there's even words on this. We have the church here with somebody painting. You know, we're not gonna visit the whole thing, but I did want to show you also that I love that on all of these houses, you can see, you know, it says butchers, your tavern, you know, there's always different things. You know, this is the barber shop. So a lot of details went into it. Another fountain here, it's really cool. And the last thing I wanted to show you is over here. You know, instead of a paved road here, we have a normal small road. Let's follow it to see what happens. And then here we can see some canals. You know, there's water. Look at the details. You know, this is really cool. Of course, cats and dogs playing. There's everything in this game. And we are at the river here. Hope you like this small visit of this new town. Let's go back into the normal mode. This was the entrance that we went through. You can see here the archways I mentioned. We have the church, the school, some fountains, the newsstand, and a lot of space for people to sit and enjoy, you know, the view. With of course a statue of myself. You know, they need to understand who's creating all of this. Here is the corner where we are planting a lot of apples and collecting those apples. And over here you have a competition of each house is trying to plant different colors and seeing which one is the best. You can see here the pink flowers, the yellow one, the red one, and the white ones. This is actually part of the cemetery mode, which I will show you later on, but you can see here all of those flowers, different colors. Do remember that in the video description below you can find a link to download all of the mods that I'm using if you want to use them all. While we're doing this visit, our ship has crossed all of the map. It actually didn't get annoyed at all by pirates, and it's almost at the end of the map to start going to Mbesa. I definitely had a lot of fun creating this new artisan small town, but we haven't started to work on the actual artisan resources like canned food and the sewing machine. To make it simple, I'm just gonna go in the order, starting with the canned food. And if you remember, for the canned food, you actually need red pepper. And red pepper doesn't go on this first island that I have, or even on my second. That's why I created also this third island here, which we'll need to start. Another thing though is I do have a mod changing this, because usually, you only have these. You don't have the kettles over here. The artisanal kitchen and the cannery will actually require artisans, so we'll probably do those two on the other island, on my island number 1, but then we'll make that on this island over here. And this island over here also has the fur abundance, which is also something we're gonna need later on for these fur coats. So my idea is, this is the entry of the city. You'll probably have a few houses here, and I'm gonna make this farmlands. And then on top here, this will go well for the fur cabins. The 2 frigates that we commissioned a bit earlier have been created, and I want to start dedicating some of my islands and ships to some of my regular viewers. I think just because we have those 2 ships here, it really goes well to go with the 2 Jacobs. One is Jacob that's written like this, and the other is Jacob that's written like that. And that Jacob is actually also the mod author for the pescatarian, and also really thanks a lot Jacob for all the great work there. This one is our initial city, so I think we have to call it Strat City. I haven't decided anything for this one, so if anyone wants this one to be named after him or her, don't hesitate to put in the comments below. And lastly, for this final island that we're starting now, I'm going to call it Pit City. Being attacked, and this guy is just attacking our city. It's crazy. She wants 60,000, where I have that money, but I don't really need a ceasefire. It's not like she's really attacking all of my island. The only route that I have for now is just between my 2 islands, very close, so I don't think we need it. Oh, another one is coming in. Okay, I already definitely need to start making defenses. Let me just low down here. And any defense that we create now will probably be too late anyway. It'd be great if that guy could help me, but it seems like he has a ceasefire. Now I'm just gonna get my ship over here, because that will help me for sure. Pretty far. I'm sorry, Jacob, we lost you. Promise, we'll get you back. You can also start using the land defense mode, where you can see we can start putting cannons on land. In particular, in some of these places like here, this is pretty great. Just need more cannons. No military ships to buy there. I hope you agree that my city is prettier than this. This looks very strange. But you can also see he is using all of the mods, and this church that we saw earlier, this one bank over here. There's a number of different mods that you can see. Even the Ferris wheel is here, but he's definitely a lot more advanced than me by now. In the next episode, I will show you a new island build here. As I said, probably build a bit of a city here, some farms over there. We'll also, of course, start producing the second resource needed for artisan, which is the sewing machines. That will not be enough to unlock fur coats, so we'll also need to have maybe a second artisan place somewhere. And of course, by then we will be also in the new world, so we'll start the new world.